Good morning. I am walking to work with my fully loaded bag, and I wanted to talk about the Shakedown hike because I really didn't film anything. I think a lot of it was we bit off a little bit more than we could chew. So I went with my boyfriend and my friend, and the original plan was to do 50 miles over 2 days, which is pretty insane. I know, especially with bags. The reason I picked that route is because it's actually an ultra marathon trail that is done every year at this lake. So I thought, wow, that would be really cool to go backpacking on that ultra marathon trail. So I picked a campsite that was clear on the other side of the lake. It was really towards the end, so it was like 25 miles in, and then we were going to turn around to go 25 miles back. Well, obviously that didn't happen. We ended up being very tired and in pain, to the point where I was like almost a little bit scared. Really did not know if we were going to make it to our campsite or not. But obviously we are alive, and honestly it was a lot of fun. I actually already want to get back out there. It was just a bit much to start with, I think. But it definitely showed me a lot and taught me that I really need to wear this bag pretty much every day. So I will be walking to work every single day from here on out, just to get used to the weight, because I feel like it makes a huge difference. I actually don't know how much the bag weighs. I have it fully loaded with everything and food and water right now, and I estimate it's probably like 30 pounds, maybe a little bit less. But I don't know, I just wasn't in the right headspace to film. I really felt like I was on a mission trying to get to that campsite. So I was going as fast as I could, and then I was worried about myself and others at one point. So yeah, I just did not have a lot of time for filming, and it was my boyfriend's birthday, and it just wasn't the right time. But honestly, I am kind of glad, because it allowed me to really push myself and be in the moment and spend some time with my boyfriend and my friend without the pressure of filming. And we had a really nice time, besides being quite miserable for a lot of the trail. So as I said, the trail started off really nice. I was very good about taking my electrolytes and being hydrated before we even started, but I also took plenty of electrolytes throughout the trail. I really think that helped me prevent having a headache at night. I did have a little bit of a headache, but for how hard we pushed ourselves, normally I would be out. So it ended up working out. Also got a lot of practice of being in the outdoors, which was fun. There was a ton of mosquitoes, but I actually only got a few bites. My boyfriend and my friend actually got way more than I did, unfortunately. And we did have bug spray, but we did not use it the first day for whatever reason. It's really hard for me to want to put things on my body like sunscreen or bug spray when I'm already wet and sweaty. I had never been on this trail, but there were actually a ton of water crossings, which was surprising to me. So the first one that we went across, we were like, oh, let's not get our feet wet. And my friend was really cool and went across this fallen tree across the creek, but I went straight through the creek. I did get wet throughout the day, so it really didn't matter. My boyfriend did try to keep his feet dry for most of the day, but as you'll see later, it did not end up working out for him. He did eventually get his feet wet, and then it was really funny when he took his shoes off at camp.
There's a mosquito. Like, hey, you see it? Is that a mosquito?
Oh yeah.
Dude, it looks like I'm wearing socks still.
You seriously look like E.T. when he... But it did give me some experience because I got to see how quickly my feet actually dry when I do go through river crossings, and surprisingly it wasn't that uncomfortable. I thought I was going to be a lot more miserable with wet, soggy feet, but they dried off really quick. And we probably went through 7 or 8 water crossings that day. One thing I do wish I did differently was drink a little bit more water. For some reason I was conserving, even though there was literally a massive lake right next to us, and there was water on the trail pretty much for the whole thing. We also probably could have taken more breaks. We did take so we started the trail at 7 a.m. and then we took a break probably around 10:30, and this break was more of like me standing around and eating and not sitting. I also did like random chores, like put on more sunscreen, put more electrolytes in my water bottle, and it really wasn't resting. I was just standing, did a little stretching, but it was not a restful break. And then for lunch, I actually pulled out my closed cell phone pad and laid out, which was phenomenal. It felt so good. So I'm definitely bringing that. As I predicted, I really like using that on the trail. I also used it later on in the day when we were really hurting, and I just laid it out in the middle of the trail because I think we saw maybe 2 people the entire day. And I just laid there and stretched, and I felt so much better when I got up. Because of the crazy rain that we had this winter in California, the wildflowers and grasses were really overgrown and so beautiful. But the caveat to that is they were filled with ticks. So every time we walked through these grasses and brushed up against them, we pretty much got ticks on us. My boyfriend actually got bit by a couple of them. I didn't get bit by any that I know of. Neither did my friend, but I hate ticks. So this was probably the most unpleasant part of the trail for me. So yeah, I will be using bug spray from here on out. Let's talk about my clothing. I wore my REI shorts and REI sun hoodie that I planned on wearing on trail. The sun hoodie I loved. I will definitely be using that. It was really nice to not have to apply sunscreen to my arms and neck. And the shorts were a huge issue. I chafed probably worse than I have ever chafed. So I don't know, that's like the 3rd pair of shorts I've tried using. They were on the longer side, but I don't know, my thunder thighs just don't work well with shorts. I'm either going to have to get some bike shorts or I will be a leggings person. We'll have to see. My other option is basketball shorts, which I'm not totally opposed to, but I don't know. I think I would be a pariah on trail if I wore basketball shorts. I also used the Garmin InReach for the first time. I sent 3 messages, one to my mom, my brother, and my sister. And only my brother received his message. So that's kind of concerning. I looked into it a little bit and it said if you don't have tracking turned on, sometimes it has issues sending messages. And regrettably, I did not turn on the tracking. I think that's another reason why I didn't film, is like I was just so overwhelmed by trying to learn my gear and do it all at once. So I was really just kind of hyper focused on that. And man, if I could restart my training, I would have started Shakedown hikes from the beginning, because there's already so many things I would want to do differently and learn better. And I just really don't want to be overwhelmed on the first day of trail. So yeah, I wish I had time for another Shakedown hike, but regrettably I don't. We didn't see as much wildlife as I wanted to, probably because we were going as fast as we could and being loud as a group, but we did see a little baby rattlesnake, and it definitely brought my spirits up when they were pretty low, and it was super cool to see. Move them off the trail with the pole jag. Just do it from far away.
How do I do it? Just like flip them?
Like gently. Just push them. We gently moved him off the trail with a trekking pole. Oh, which by the way, I did use for half of the day, and I think it really helped me. But I ended up letting my boyfriend use them because his body was just destroyed, and they ended up really helping him. So definitely learned that I am team trekking pole. As far as food, we went and bought a bunch of backpacker meals, and I think that was a bad decision because they really grossed me out. Hiker hunger obviously had not set in on the first day. I was more nauseated than I was hungry. And the backpacker meals just did not hit the spot. I was way more interested in my snacks, like my chips and my nuts. And I really wanted like pastries, which we didn't bring. Even for breakfast, I brought like a whole like veggie skillet meal, and I could not eat it. It just looked so gross. But the coffee, I used 2 of the Trader Joe instant coffee packets, and it was really good. I put them in my little shaker bottle and drank it cold, and it was perfect. Yeah, so the only issue with that is carrying twice the amount of coffee that I would normally need, because it was only good with 2 packets and not 1. So I might just have to do with 1. Also, in classic newbie hiker fashion, we way overpacked the food, which resulted in my bag being really heavy and we didn't need any of it, so it was totally a waste. So I think I will definitely keep that in mind when I am packing my first few days food for the trail. But ultimately, the first day we ended up doing around 22 miles, and by the end of it, my boyfriend and my friend were nearly in tears. So I was kind of panicking because I legit did not know what to do for them, and I felt really bad that I made them come on this trail with me that they were not prepared for. But it did show me that my training has paid off. I was definitely in pain. Hello from mile 17, I think. I have not been filming much because it's been kind of a crazy day, but the view is really pretty. But my friend and my boyfriend are behind me, and we are herding. But I did see a rattlesnake, so that's really cool. It revived me for a few minutes. But we're really trying to just trek on and find our campsite, but I don't know if we're gonna make it. I feel so sorry for him. It's his birthday tomorrow, and I'm making him do this absolutely heinous hike. I have never seen a more beautiful sight on the side of this campground. I'm so happy. So we started the trail at around 7 a.m. and I think we got to our campsite around 6:45. So it was a long day of hiking, and I literally did not film anything the next day. Actually, I think I filmed myself drinking coffee by the lake, but we ended up taking a short way out. It was still like 8 miles, but it was much less than the day before. All right, I'm walking on my way home from work now. And where was I? I think I left off from maybe when we reached the campsite. Really like my tent. It's a backpacking tent, and it fit my boyfriend, who is 6'5", and myself. So I'm really impressed with that. When it's just me in that tent, it's going to feel like a palace. My sleeping bag was really warm. It is 10-degree rated, and I tend to sleep really cold, but I woke up multiple times dripping in sweat. Like I had to peel the sleeping bag off of me. And I'm thinking maybe when I have exercised all day, I just run hotter, which would be nice actually, because I would rather be hot than cold. And we slept with the rain fly off, so it was very open and airy. It was just so hot for me, and it really wasn't a hot night. I have no idea what temperature it got up to, but it was not hot outside. I was wearing a jacket, which I took off. So a few things that I want to point out that I learned. The first one would be take more pictures. I took like no pictures, and I really regret it. And I did take pictures of the scenery, but I want to take pictures with me in the pictures, because I feel like that would create the best memories. And definitely pictures of the scenery, but I want to make the effort to take pictures with me in the pictures so that I remember it. Secondly, I want to take the effort to film more. There were plenty of times where I was like, oh, I could film this, but the morale was so low and everyone was in such a bad mood. I just didn't want to film that because at the time it didn't seem interesting. But now, looking back, I wish that I did, because I think now that it's over, I would find it funny. Number 3, I experimented with twisting my platypus water filter on the water bottles that I had and not using the water bladder. First of all, it does not screw on all the way, and it leaks if you don't buy like a O-ring, and I think they're pretty cheap. I just don't know if I want to bother with that. And then secondly, the floaties in the water really grossed me out and made me not want to drink as much. And that's as opposed to just filling up my water bladders and filtering the water into my water bottles, which I guess takes more time. So I'm not 100% decided on how I'm going to deal with that. God, these bugs. I think I'll buy the O-rings for the smart water bottle just in case I do want to go that route, because I like the idea of not wasting time filtering water from a water bladder into a water bottle. But I don't know if I can get over gross brown water. It just makes me not want to drink, and that also is not a good idea. And 4, I definitely will be bringing a little bottle of soap, because I desperately wanted to wash my hands, and all I brought was hand sanitizer and hand wipes, but my hands were still so sticky, and I don't mind my body. Oh my god, these freaking bugs. I don't mind my body being sticky as much, but my hands, I need them to stick in my mouth to get my Invisaligns out, and it just major grossed me out. I really didn't like it. So yeah, definitely gonna bring a little bottle of soap. It is worth the wait to me, just because I do have to put my fingers in my mouth quite often. But yeah, that's about it. All I can think of right now, at least. I'm sure there's plenty more I will learn. I really wish that I had made the effort to do more overnight shakedowns, because I just feel like you learn so much from those. Like I said, if that was one thing I could change with my training, I would put way more emphasis on that. But it was really fun. We did about 30 miles overall. And yeah, at this point, I just can't wait to be on trail. We're getting very, very close to the start date. I did post a few pictures that I took on my Instagram. You can follow that. It's Beth Rachel with 3 H's. And I update more on there just because it's easier. But yeah, thanks for watching.